G'day gang. For the longest time I've been making a video about a subject and then a video about a video game. Um, but I kind of want to just talk about video games. I have such a massive list of video games that I wanted to talk about, and today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite games that had me properly hooked. I want to talk about Remnant from the Ashes. I think it is genuinely cool and a genuinely interesting style of game that I really haven't experienced in this format before. So it's kind of like a Souls-like, kind of, but really not really. It's a lot softer than Souls games. So it's definitely a Souls light, if anything. But it's a really unique and interesting game because the flavor of it is really dark. But I think the coolest thing about dark settings is that those moments of light that pierce through are so elegant and so obvious and so beautiful. And I think that this game is just a prime example of understanding that sort of genre. And two, the set dressing for it is amazing. I don't know if that's the exact word for it. Let me try to explain. Some of the just going through and exploring the game world, you come across some of the most beautiful scenes, like just present little houses that are like really built up tall or like built next to each other. Buddy, no. Excuse my cat. But then having like yeah, these little houses built in the swamps and stuff like that have like all of these little rickety like ways of being built, and then you have like little like houses in the sand that look like really beautiful and amazing and are built in that like really that hot climate method of having like your flat roof with like lots of holes for ventilation and stuff like that, and it just feels really authentic and beautiful. And every world that you go to is really pretty and unique and interesting, and you have to make some really difficult choices throughout the game. Buddy, please. Oh my lord, sorry. You have to make some really difficult choices throughout the game, which just makes the choices that you make so much more interesting. Oh my lord, they're so loud today. I've been trying to like pat and calm them down, but they're just very happy little kitty cats. Anyway, yeah, so the choices that you make in the game are really interesting and very complicated, and you can only make them like make different choices if you reset the world and go through it again. And it is brutal in resetting the world. I think there are like 30 or 40 times I had to reset a world to get a specific combination of things that I could even make the choice I wanted to make. So the re-rolling isn't great. But basically, probably have to talk more game mechanics to explain that. The game is a first-person shooter, over the shoulder. I don't know if that's still classified as first person. It's kind of like hybrid of between first and third, but I think it's still classified as first. Yeah, it's over your shoulder, and it's a very interesting design of your character arrives at a fort of survivors, and they kind of have nothing. You know, humanity is really lost. We are remnants from the ashes. We are the last remaining pieces of humanity because this horrific like threat, this horrific plant threat is overtaking. And you know that pretty much immediately, and you can know that from the cover art. So I'm not going to spoil that for you. But then you basically, obviously, become the guardian of your world. And there are other worlds that this infection, this rot, this plant has gone to destroy. And you kind of have to go through their world to try and explore, understand, and try to work out a way to kill it. Because, you know, humanity is, we're not doing great. And I think that all of those beautiful like themes, all of those beautiful elements play really cleanly throughout the world. that you explore and throughout the human world. And you start out and you end in the human world, obviously, because that's what's awesome. And it has a lot of complicated story elements that are just really cool and interesting. And you meet a lot of characters along the way that become important to you and help you get the equivalent of your Essless flask, which is like your healing item. And then you get more health, you get better weapons, you get better abilities and stuff like that. And the weapons in this game are so cool. Some of them are really unique. And before, when I was talking about you make choices, you can screw a character over or you can help a character, and both give you a different weapon or ability. So you kind of do want to do both at some point. You kind of want to do as much as possible. There's a second game as well, but it plays quite different because of a specific characteristic. So the first game, you can attach as many traits as you want. So if you play the game enough, you can basically become unkillable. The second game has a limitation on the amount of traits that you can take. So you have to balance it between combat, quality of life, and utility stuff, which is suffering. Look, it's fair you want to balance your game, but stop. Let me become an unkillable monster, please, and thank you. Some of the first bosses in Remnant were some of the most shocking video game experience I had. Me and my friends who also play Souls games. We were really wait, what? It took us a long time to understand the mechanics because of how unique and interesting the bosses in the game are. They are really cool, and they do really cool stuff. So basically, the game is very simply designed. You go through a level, then you get to often a multiple exits to that level, to a different level, or a boss level, and then you move throughout the game world through that. And some levels are really interesting and weird. Some level you, for example, can fight through the entire area and get to the end, and there's a vendor at the end, but you have to have a very specific item, and if you don't have it, you have to re-roll your world to get it, which is brutal. And certain encounters require specific things to do that. And yeah, re-rolling your world is annoying, but you don't have to deal with that if you play, if you just want to play the game through for the story. If you don't want to 100% the game, it doesn't matter. It does definitely impact your ability to make the choices that you want to make. For example, one of the enemies in the game, you have a choice to give them something to avoid fighting them, which is really cool and unique, and you get something in return of different value. So it's really fun to go through and play the game like that, and just play through the campaign and just experience the story. I think that's the way in which that I've had the most fun. But you can also play it in a different mode where you play through only specific sections, and you can re-roll either at any time, but you obviously lose the progress in that. But they have different options, and they have different, often they have different NPCs or different events that show up in different modes, which is really interesting. And I think that was a really cool way to do it. They overdid it on the reroll. They're like, we can reroll, so you have to reroll. No, thank you. But it's a really cool way to play. And the weapons in the game are so unique and wild. Some of them completely change the way that the game functions, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but basically some weapons, for example, you have a melee weapon, which is just your default click, and then you hold your zoom in to use your ranged weapon. So that's how they differentiate between the two. And you also have a long gun and a short gun, basically. So a sidearm and a main firearm too, which is really an interesting way to do it. And when I started out, I consistently kept forgetting to hold right click because I like shooting from the hip, but you can't shoot from the hip in this game. So it was an interesting adjustment for me because I'm stupid. But I know a lot of people had similar experiences to me, so apologies. But yeah, it was really interesting to have the differences in melee weapons really early on. You start out with obviously just rusty weapons, and then you get crazy stuff that has like lightning or other stuff like that. It's yeah, you can get some really cool stuff. That's very, very light spoilers given the cool stuff that you can get. But yeah, Remnant is one of the coolest games that I've played. It's really unique. It's very interesting. And I 100%ed the first game because it was just so much fun. I didn't get that much into the second game because again, the trait system was really discouraging, because if you work so hard to get all these traits and you can't apply them, it gets frustrating for me personally, because it's having to balance like the utility and the survivability stuff got so annoying. For example, there are stuff that makes you move quicker. And why would you choose the stuff that makes you move quicker when you can choose the stuff that makes you have more damage? So then it just kind of invalidates that. You know, it's not my favorite. I feel like they should have only limited the ones that make you stronger instead of the ones that make the game more fun. But personal opinion. Yeah, what do you guys think about Remnant from the Ashes? Have you played the first and second game? Yeah, have you played either? Do you like it? Do you like these sorts of games? It's not for everyone, but I personally think it's a very, very cool, stylized, and like thematically, it's really cool. If you do like my videos, liking, subscribing means so much. I hate asking, I really do, but you kind of have to in this day and age. You don't really have a choice. It means so much. I'm very much struggling to self-motivate on YouTube, so subscribing really helps. It truly does. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.